They're twisting the text. They are trying to conceal its true meaning. We've heard, but their edits are shallow. The truth will out someday.
This one was going to be the end of the show, but I had moved it for Usama's benefit, so I hope he sees this, because I found it very interesting. So Surah 48, verse 9. We read here from our very good friend, Daif International, that you people, or your people, may believe in Allah and His Messenger, and honor Him, and respect the Prophet, and exalt Allah morning and afternoon. Okay, that's not what it says. We have here, sorry, let me actually just get the mouse straight. So we have here Allah and His Rasul. That is the section. So Allah and His Messenger, this section. But there is no more Allah anywhere. There is no more Prophet anywhere. What we have is three things that you need to do. 1, 2, and 3, all connected with a wow. So that's very good. So what happens when we put this through a literal translation? So that you believe in God, in Allah, and His Messenger, so far so good. And you support Him, and you honor Him, and you glorify Him morning and evening. Now we're having a big problem here, because all of these things are about the last noun that was used, which is the messenger. You are meant to support the messenger, honor the messenger, and glorify the messenger. But we cannot have that in Islam because it would give the game away. So just like that, it changes. Now you have to honor him and respect. They have to put there the prophet. So this is where it ends. Here is Muhammad up to here. Trust me, bro. And then you have to exalt Allah, because otherwise you are glorifying the messenger.
But that's not what it
and
says.
you're an apostate.
A candid question here. What could mean to support the messenger?
To support the messenger.
Yeah, what would it mean? How come Jesus would need some support?
See what Saint Murad says.
You see, with your literal rendering, word for word, so that you believe in the God and His messenger, and you support Him. You support the messenger.
That was, I just threw it on ChatGPT, by the way. So we could actually go with Dave International if we wanted, but let's see what Murad says.
Yeah.
For you to believe by Allah and His messenger, and reprimand Him, and venerate Him, and something, and by the Virgin, morning and pre-sunset. You know, the fact that it's always Allah and His messenger means God and Jesus. I mean, that they're inseparable. Right? Clearly, it's inseparable. I mean, I think you've made this very clear, JC. We can look at Usama's translation as well, if you want.
But the thing that is very interesting here is the following verse. Verse 10 in Surah 48. Because in verse 10, there is a clear mention of the leader of some Arabs. Indeed, those who pledge allegiance to you, they are actually pledging allegiance to God. That's very interesting because it tells us about the status of the preacher.
So to summarize, go on, sir.
Yeah, the thing that is very complex and difficult to understand is that the historical Muhammad, the one that is being instructed in the Quran in order to preach to some Arabs, he was given a sort of divine power also. You see, here in the verse in Surah 48, verse 10, the instructor tells the preacher, indeed, those who pledge allegiance to you, they are actually pledging allegiance to God.
Right.
So you see the complexity of the situation. In the historical dossier, we have someone that does not pretend to be the Prophet of Islam, but who does pretend to be a sort of God's apostate, in a sense. Because if you pledge allegiance to him, you pledge allegiance to God.
Okay, so...
And that's interesting because it comes just after the verses we saw, verse 8 and 9. We have sent you as a witness and a bringer of good tidings, that you may believe in God and his messenger, honor him, respect him, and exalt God morning and afternoon. And because of this, we have the following verse, because of this, those who pledge allegiance to you, they are actually pledging allegiance to God.
Yeah. Usama says something similar, so that you may believe in Allah and his messenger, and that you may help him and reverence him and praise him morning and evening. Surely those who pledge allegiance to you, surely they only pledge allegiance to Allah. But this could be evangelization.
Yeah, it's a sort of evangelization, but it's much more than this. It's becoming part of the faction that will take Jerusalem. You become a sacred warrior, in a way, a jihadi.
Probably Umar.
Right. So, but yeah, but again, the Murad translation is kind of almost incomprehensible when you read it.
Sometimes it's very too literal.
So again,
it's too literal sometimes.
Yeah, it's very difficult sometimes. Usama, I mean, makes good points. Yeah, because also, but then they both have their value. I mean, they both have their value. So hold on, let me just put you back on stream. There you go, JC.
Yeah, so
there's room for argument here. There's room for interpretation, certainly.
There are, with Murad's translation, there are things that I'm actually investigating now, which are from his question marks, because he didn't find that word. So then we know the word is from a different language, or...
But he left it out. He did not find it. He just usually left it out.
Yeah.
It's not Arabic.
So yeah, and with the next verse 10, I have thoughts, but although maybe that's something that we can unpack some other time. I think there might be something else as well with that picture, but it could be as well about someone saying those things about himself. Still then talking about this one, according to Arabic grammar, and I'm happy to be corrected, this is not my area of expertise, if this is talking about Allah and his Rasul, then all of these things are going to be about his Rasul. And then we have the problem with the word glorify, which is the one Murad didn't translate, so it comes from another place. You cannot do that to Muhammad. That means basically associating him with God. So this would make sense with Jesus. Now, when we go to the tafsir, you can see exactly like what they do in here. So I'm not going to read this whole thing. Anybody can actually go and have a look. So in the end, blah, blah, blah. In addition, it is mentioned that the believers must be characterized by 3 more qualities. And what do they do? That they should support him, support Muhammad, and revere him. And then all of a sudden, as if by magic, pronounce his, now is Allah's purity morning and evening. If this is about Jesus, no problem. You pray to Jesus and you are fine. You cannot do it in Islam. These things are happening everywhere in the text, where there is something that if you read just what it says, you would conclude this is talking about Allah and his messenger, that would be Jesus, just like when it says Allah and his Messiah, it would be very clear. But because one of the actions given to Muhammad doesn't make any sense in Islam, they have to just reinterpret everything and make it all about Allah. It's impossible.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense within Islam. It could make sense within an historical hypothesis, the one I told you about. You see, the instructor praises God and Jesus, and he does it so that the preacher, when he asks the people, he asks their allegiance from the people, he does not pretend to be Jesus himself. You see, it's very important for the instructor to make a strong barrier between, let's call him Muhammad, and Jesus. Jesus is the one to be revered. You, Muhammad, you will have the power to make people pledge an allegiance to God. If the people pledge an allegiance to you, it's equivalent as an allegiance to God. But beware, Muhammad. You are not Jesus. You are not to be revered yourself.
Yeah, that would
And
make
this could
sense.
explain.
And the whole that theme actually does appear a lot in the Quran. It's basically even in the narrative when Muhammad would say, well, you guys need to follow Jesus and you need to believe in Jesus, but actually believing in Jesus means following me.
Yeah.
That's actually the
Exactly.
standard Islamic narrative. So
But that's the thing of within a messianic movement, there are people who pretend to know the will of God, and so they act as if they were God's Messiah, which is a reason why Muhammad might have bore the title Mahmad. He was sort of, he was not Jesus himself, but he was acting in his stead. So he was a sort of Messiah himself. So he was a Mahmad.
Could be part of the culture, because being the vice regent of Al-Makkah, the god at the time, that was a normal situation. You were the vice regent, the regent of the god on earth. So they could have taken on that cultural tone, could still have affected their worship.
But you see it, for example, in Lord of the Rings, in the movies or in the books. Denethor, the steward of Gondor. He's not the king of Gondor. He's only the steward. So he speaks for the kingdom, but actually he acts like a king. He is he's supposed to be a sort of vice king, but he is the king.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the earliest reference in the Jordan desert of Isa, I mean, this is very clearly a Christian reference, but it's very much part of that. It's colored by that culture. So you've still got these, that whole Bedouin sort of culture so they've taken that Christianity and they've still simply modified it, adapted it, or it's taken on that look. So you could see that happening. I mean, this is probably not exactly, shall we say, orthodox. This is going to be heterodox somehow.
For sure. Within the Quran, it's very heterodox, what we see within the Quran.
Yeah. JC, go on.
all right, so I think, where are the slides? And then I think this will be the final section. So just a few verses. And the message is like for the audience, for people who are trying to help understand the Quran better, and they are reading the Quran, don't take anything that the tafsir writers said like at all. Take everything with a pinch of salt, because they lie. We've seen at the start of the show, like quite a few instances where they just replaced everything. And every single time that we speak, we come up with those things. So these are some examples, even without drawing final conclusions. For example, so we have Surah 2, verses 40 and 41. So it's talking to the children of Israel. Oh, children of Israel, remember my favor over you, da, 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 da. Then the next verse. And believe in what I have sent down, confirming that which is with you. Now, you go to the tafsir, is going to tell you that means Muhammad, the Quran, in Medina, and all of that nonsense. We have already established this theme. We've seen it before. It is in the Quran. It is addressing the children of Israel, the Jews. So if the speaker is saying, believe in what I have sent down, It's putting words in the mouth of God, saying, I have sent down the word confirming that which is with you. That would make sense.
That's the
because
prophecies,
Jesus-
confirming the prophecies of the Old Testament. So this could be we have fulfilled the prophecy of the book that's with you. Potentially the
Yes.
Torah.
Yes. If we
So
try to play this out.
Speaking to Jews here, Odon.
It's a bit far-fetched. It's the easiest explanation is that the which is with you is the Torah, and what is I have sent down is Jesus or the Injil.
Yeah, well, one way or another, like I said before, the Quran establishes that Jesus confirms the Torah and that the Gospel confirms the Torah.
Mhm.
So I would normally say, well,
yeah.
But either
There's just,
way, is
just something else at the end of the verse. Do not exchange my signs, my verses, for a small price. This is a common trait. You say that a topoi within the Quran. The Jews are accused of changing the verses for a small price. And I think it always, or almost always, refer to the Jews editing the prophecies, talking about Jesus, talking about the Messiah, or refusing to take into account the verses in the Torah that prophesies Jesus. And so here it's coherent with the interpretation of the which is with you is the Torah, and believe in the Injil.
yes, I would be happy with either interpretation, providing it is not, just certainly not about Muhammad. And just to tell the audience that this, if you need to go to the tafsir, what they're going to tell you that Muhammad is in Mecca or in Yathrib, and he's talking to the Jews. There is no Christians around, and he's saying these things. And what God has sent down is supposed to be the Quran. But imagine that scene in your head. Just imagine Muhammad is there and he's talking to the Jews and says, and believe in what I have sent down, confirming what you have. The Jews would say, oh, what has he set down? A book. Can we see it? No, it's not written. It's in my memory. I will recite it. It's like, that is insane. And also, I will confirm what is with you. It's like, no, you're not confirming anything. So it just doesn't make any sense. We've been told all of these stories about Muhammad saying these verses and being about Islam. And there is no Islam in these verses. So in order to figure it out, just like Odon said, is okay, so we have a number of elements to play with, see which ones they fit. And I agree with Odon, the Injil actually fits because of the don't exchange signs.
There's
right?
also the use of the verb to disbelieve. So it's kafara in Arabic. Kafara doesn't mean disbelieve, it means to cover. So believe in what I have sent down, the Injil, and be not the first to cover it. So to hide the Injil, to hide the Injil, and to hide the prophecy of the coming of Jesus and the Injil in the Torah. And this accusation of the Jews being disbelievers is all along the Quran. The Jews are disbelievers, they are coverers of the good news because they cover the fact that Jesus is the Messiah. So you see here we have a very coherent verse if you look at it with an historical explanation, and a completely ununderstandable verse if you look at it with the Islamic narrative lens.
Yes, the Islamic narrative is just, we see a lot of the contradictions that happen in the Quran. They're actually not real contradictions. It's because there is a verse that was talking about something basic, like basically Jews and Christians, but then they have put Muhammad with the Quran, with Islam, and then the whole thing breaks. And then we have a huge contradiction. When we remove that is when we start to see, no, hang on a minute, what would these people be understanding from these words? And normally you have just a handful of options. Islam just breaks the Quran entirely. So just a warning for people listening. If you're doing this research, make sure that you don't read Muhammad where he's not. Otherwise, well, you're just reading the tafsir. And the other ones, 289, the same. And when there came to them a book from Allah, confirming that which was with them. So this is talking in the past tense. This will be, I suppose, I think I checked, exegeted as, well, that is the Quran, and it came to them, and they didn't believe. And it's like, no, this is would be talking about the Injil, confirming what they had. But they have to put in here that it's all about Islam when it isn't. Oh, and Odon, as well, to follow up when you said about the disbelief, yes, and another theme that appears a lot is actually what you said about the signs, when they say they lied about the signs from God. Yeah, that happens in the Quran quite a few times. So it looks like people were basically trying to make sure that Jesus wouldn't fit in prophecies and things like that.
So, and you know that the word for signs is the same as the word for verses.
Yeah. And Murad actually has an interesting view on that word, saying that the original understanding was something physical, that it was not supposed to actually be a verse. But I don't have a view on that. He said that according to his research, a sign would be something that they see, but in this verse, I wouldn't know how to fit that in. So probably a little bit more of research on that before I can go one way or the other. And then the last verse, again, we have the same thing. And when a messenger from Allah came to them, confirming that which was with them. Maybe I need to do a show where I look at all of the places where it says that a messenger confirming what came before it, and it's been exegeted as that is Muhammad, because I could guarantee now every single time will be Jesus. If it is a messenger, if it is a book, it will be the Injil, unless it is very obvious in the verse that is talking about, I don't know, an angel or something like that. It will generally be all about Christianity.
I was thinking that there is something else in verse 89. It's supposedly, according to the Islamic narrative, a book, a scripture, came to the Jews. So the Jews were given a physical Quran that confirms that which was with them. This cannot be. There was no physical Quran during the time of Muhammad, according to the Islamic narrative. It was not written down. So here we have a blatant contradiction. The Quran contradicts the Islamic narrative. There never was any scripture, any Islamic scripture, any Quran given to the Jews. You see my point?
Yeah, actually, maybe I should check just in case that one, the exegete, it says that it is the Injil, but I don't think so. If it says the book from Allah, I think this is going to be understood as it was the Quran. So I can't remember the tafsir. I try to avoid it whenever I can. You're right. Also, it's in the. It was not written. Muhammad is speaking with people. This is something as well.
It has to be the Quran here. I understand that it can be understood as the Injil. When you talk about the book that came to them, but it has to be the Quran. Otherwise, the disbeliever argument wouldn't make sense. You see, in order for the disbeliever to disbelieve, they have to, according to the Islamic narrative, they have to reject Muhammad and Islam and the Quran. The disbelievers, according to the Islamic narrative, they are not disbelievers because they disbelieve in the Injil. They are disbelievers because they disbelieve in Islam, in Muhammad's message. You see my point?
Yeah, I see your point. I'm actually very quickly. Actually, Lloyd, maybe, I don't know, if do you have any good tafsirs that we can just have a look, just to have fun with
I'll have
that
a look
one?
also.
I don't have...
Tafsir of 289.
Yep. And let's see what it says. just in case that the very
Okay.
previous verse
Yeah.
is talking about the Injil, but if it says a book from Allah, I would say it's most likely going to be about the Quran, and then we can have fun with that one.
289, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. So now we need the tafsirs. Here we go, all of them. Which one do you want? There's a whole bunch.
Wait. Well, any that will say what is the book from Allah.
Yeah, it talks
Ooh,
about
the second
Muhammad
one.
here. You see?
The book
They were
from
asking
Allah,
for
from God, book from God.
Oh, look, confirming what the second one it says. Is
the first one says it's about the Quran.
This is the Quran. Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
The
So
Quran.
thank you, Lloyd. So this is talking about the Quran, and it makes absolutely no sense. It's talking in the past tense. So if we think about it, Muhammad is there saying to people, and when there came to them a book from Allah, they would be like, sorry, what book are you talking about? The Quran. He's like, but you didn't write it down. They don't have a book. It makes no
true.
sense.
Charlene also says Quran. The second one also says Quran. The third one says nothing. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, the fourth, nothing. You're right. That's very interesting. Some say nothing and some call it the Quran. You're right. Yeah. Interesting.
I hope people watching, they can at least see how this book had nothing to do with the Islamic narrative, and then they have to create one. And when they start putting things into the book, it just breaks when you just look at it. And there is so much in these verses that every translator will translate in the present tense, but the Arabic is in the past tense. It's talking past events. And they are shoehorning Muhammad everywhere. We've lost Odon. So how are you finding all of this stuff, Lloyd? Are you finding it useful? Are you having comments from people?
This episode has had a lot of very heated conversation. You know, I mean, we've had a lot of discussion on the basis of what you've discussed so far, right, Odon? This has been a very, I mean, you know what? There's room for argument. There's room for discussion. But notice we're not that divergent. I mean, we're all going in the same direction. It's just that there's little issues over details, but I don't see how you can support a single messenger that's a well-defined character who lived in a specific time, in a specific place for a specific period, and did a specific thing. I mean, there'd be a clearer indication in history, I would think. But then you've got all of this weird stuff. Just none of it adds up.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
and when we see, and the guys who actually wrote the tafsir, they are basically the same people who wrote the hadiths. It's the same spirit of bid'ah, like to call it that. There are people whose job it is to create something that is not there. We see that in the hadiths. We've discussed the moon split. So there was one verse in the Quran, and then later they go and they write a whole tradition around that. They write a isnad, they fabricate all of that. So we know there was an intention. They were doing this on purpose. The thing is that they didn't start that, you know, in the 12th century. They started that with the book itself. They just tried to write a whole different narrative, and we can see that in the hadiths. We can see it in the Quran, and as we can see, well, the character of Muhammad is not in the Quran. The Quran contradicts Islam. Don't you find this kind of interesting, or I don't know if wonderful? The book of Islam contradicts Islam entirely.
Yeah, I guess the Quranic dilemma still stands very strongly. Oh, Adam says, you know what? Adam is very smart, and he just said you're an Islamophobe. You guys are all Islamophobias. Adam, would you like to come up for 5 minutes? We'll probably wind down slowly. It's getting late. What do you think? But Adam, if you'd like to come up, here's the link in the chat. If you want to add anything, if you can take us on, if you dare. Because we are we're not afraid of the great Adam Seeker. So, yeah, I know this thing about the Quran. I mean, that yes, you're holding the Quran with you, but the Quran wasn't sent down in full yet. So I mean, yeah, the tafsir writers are obviously. I mean, Look, I do the tafsir weekly with Usama, and clearly the tafsir is it's hysterical garbage, which cannot justify itself. It's insane.
Yeah. You see how it gives a new color to the interpretation of the turmoils between Muslims in the 9th and the 10th century, the opposition between the Mutazilit and the Asharites, the Mirna revolution,
Yeah.
and also the Buyids, the Shia Buyids,
Yeah.
taking over the Abbasids. I think that the religious quarrels were fueled by this kind of crap, the invention of such a fake narrative.
But then my story of the squabbling between different groups who were in control of the Quran at the time,
Yeah.
That kind of stands again, because you have this need to harmonize these contradictions, and the tafsir points out these issues, these contradictions, and the need to harmonize. And so the tafsir is evidence of this big fight that was going on. Hello, our favorite Murtad.
Assalamu alaikum, ya Habibis. You are so Islamophobes. What are you doing? This is the month of the Islamophobias. I have to tell the world. Everyone is Islamophobes.
I'm officially changing my name to Max Islamophobia.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. That is why I don't like you guys. Allah says in the Quran, you are like dogs. If we put weight on you, you pant. If we don't put weight on you, you still pant. So you are like all panting dogs. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
I'm going to take beer. I am so sad hearing what you say. I need to take beer.
Take beer.
Well, Adam, very nice actually speaking with you again. I think after everything that we have been showing here and discussing with Lloyd and with Odon, I think it's fair to say that if we think that the Quran says one thing, it probably doesn't, because the whole thing is a mess.
Yeah, this
MashaAllah.
is... Adam, did you see this last one where they say that the book that is in your hands, in the tafsir says the book that is in your hands is the Quran, but the Quran wasn't written yet.
Exactly.
So then it makes no sense. The tafsir is upside down and backwards, and then this whole Quran is clearly not telling the story that... Anyway, your thoughts, I mean.
So the book is in your hand is Surah Baqarah, ayah number 1, right? Ayah number 2. Dalikal kitabu la rayba fi. That is where it comes from. So you need to understand that zalik does not mean this, it means that. There is a word called this is in Arabic, it's haza. And it has been used in the Quran multiple times. So every time you will look into this verse, this, I've done this so many times, man. It's just unbelievable. So let me do this, Quran.com, and we will do this. And then you will see how many times it has been misinterpreted. So if you, this means that. I have done a video called This Means That. Have you seen that?
Alika.
Sounds familiar, but...
I know about the argument, because an Aramaic speaking friend of mine explained me that the second verse of the Surah 2 already contradicts the Islamic narrative. This is the book about which there is no doubt.
It actually means that.
It's not the Quran. See, he told me when you go to a store and you want to buy a bottle of milk, you ask the guy, give me a bottle of milk. The guy takes one bottle, and you say, no, the other, Dalika, the other bottle. So in Surah 2, this is the other book about which there is no doubt, a guidance for those conscious of God, which means there is a previous book, which is the Torah.
Exactly. And if you read the Ibn Kasir and Qurtubi of this verse, they actually says here Allah is referring to that, which means the Torah and Injil.
Yeah.
The Torah and Injil. So both. And then Ibn Kasir adds Torah, Injil, and Quran. And Quran. So he adds and Quran as well in it. So this is how bad it is. If you look at it, it's so destructive. They don't even know what is happening. and they have to, because they know this is the verse which came right after Hijrah, right? Alif Lam Mim
Supposedly.
Zalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fi, right?
Supposedly.
Supposedly, yeah, as
Yeah,
they
the
claim.
very first Medinan verses.
Yeah. And at that particular time, Quran is not even a book, obviously by default.
Yeah.
It's just 90 chapters that has been revealed. So, sorry, not 90, it's 50 something, 50 odd.
And
50
they haven't been written yet. So it's
and
not
it
a
hasn't been
kitab.
written. It's not a book. It's just written in some parchment here, there, some bones, some etc., etc., etc. So, what is remaining then? So, you know, if you go to the tafsirs of these books, it is very, very silly, because they actually says here that means this.
Yeah.
Here, so I'll go to altafsir.com. Let me go there.
I wonder, why do scholars, the academics, the Harvards, the whatever, why are they not saying, look, guys, this is garbage. Clearly, here are the problems. Let's just lay them out. Someone please explain them. Come on, let's do a live debate. Explain these problems. And they could solve all of this like that.
They say it. They say it behind closed door. They say it behind closed door. But they won't ever say it publicly, because that will ruin their career.
Wow. I'm shocked.
So,
I'm really shocked. Yeah.
let me share my screen. I'll show you.
Sure. Go
I
ahead.
understand. Let's proceed. There you go. Okay. This is altafsir.com. Okay. This is altafsir.com. Let me zoom in a little. No, let's see here. It says, Ta'wil qawlu ta'ala, Zalikal kitab is Hadal kitab. That book is this book.
Yeah. It is a challenge to reason. How can you be a reasonable man when you are forced to understand the contrary of what is literally written?
This is the English translation by Google, and it says the interpretation of God Almighty's statement, that is the book, is this is the book.
A better translation would be this other book, that other is the book, this is the book.
So
That
That
makes
other
sense.
one is the book, this is the book.
So let's go back. This is Tibri. Let's go to Al-Tibrisi. No matter how many you actually read, it will actually say something similar. Tibrisi, let's see. Okay. Okay. There you go. فإن قلت أخبرني عن تعويل ذلك الكتاب ما ألف لام ميم قلت it doesn't, where is it? It should say that in ma'ana wa ma'ana an ذلك الكتاب وهو الكتاب الكامل. There you go. Allah says that book, they're gonna say this book. And then إن يكون الكتاب صفة ومعنى هو ذلك الكتاب المعدود إن يكون ألف لام ميم خبر معروف and etc. They're talking about the alif lam mim and etc. And then, you know, Tanzilul Kitab. Now he removed the word Zalika from here. There is another kira where Zalika is not even present there. Means there is another Arabic Quran in which the word Zalika is not there. It's Tanzilul Kitab. So you will go pages after pages from the Arabic scholars, and it will actually say you something similar. Qawlu ta'ala, Zalikal Kitab, Fafiya Masail. There's so many Masail. Zalikal Kitab, why is it sent Zalikal Kitab, and etc. And then it says that it is Hadal Kitab. Hadal Kitab means this book. So that book means this book. And then some people says because it is Zalika, so it is the Torah or Injil. Torah or Injil in it. This, like, imagine this guy for one verse, Zalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fi, one single verse with 5 letters in it.
Mm-hmm.
He's writing over 10 pages. There's Mazid means more. So there's like what, 12 pages for one particular sentence of 5 words.
So they're trying to drown it in noise, basically.
And
Exactly.
They cannot do otherwise. It would ruin the narrative.
I mean, this is a serious blocker. This is a serious problem.
Yeah, and it starts with the second verse. If you put the Fatiha aside, it's the second verse of the Quran.
Surah, I mean, second chapter.
Yeah, second chapter, and the second verse, if you put the Fatiha aside.
Yeah.
So there is a video on my channel. It's 10 minutes long. It's called "That Means This," the narrative of tafsir.
Have a look.
So in that video, I went through a lot of tafsir, which actually says that means this. So even if you look at it from the English ones, quranx.com/tafsirs 2:2. Now imagine what's going to happen. In English, they cannot do something like that, right? You think. They removed that? Okay. That meaning this.
That meaning this. Yeah, here meaning there, she meaning ye, me meaning you. I mean, it's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, probably, I mean, if this begins with that means this, then when they tell you the messenger means Muhammad, of course you're gonna believe it. They started the book in that manner. They say the book, and it's very clearly the Injil, but they will say no, that means the Quran. So they basically just it's like a blank book, and they just tell you a completely different meaning of everything that is in there. This is hilarious.
Oh, hilarious! There's so many hilarious things. So let me do this. I'll show you. What do you call it? Share from start at this point. Copy. That's my own video, so nobody is going to give you copyright anyways. So that means this. Man, these guys are trying to fix Allah's Arabic, man. Zalik al-kitab. Zalik al-kitab. Hazal kitab.
ذلك الكتاب.
Oh, check this. Ibn Kathir. Zalik al-kitabu hazal kitab.
Dude,
That is Ibn Kathir.
you know what's so funny, Adam, is that I've heard about this for years, but I've never really taken it seriously. And the thing is, I still wasn't going to take it seriously until I saw that Ibn Kathir and Jalalain, both Ibn Kathir and the Jalalain, all are twisting this.
Zalik means haza. Man, I'm loving this, man. This is just so awesome.
Wow.
Zalik means haza.
Wow. ذلك الكتاب I had, or, you know what it says? I means or.
Oh, no, come read this. An zalik bamaini haza.
بمعنى هذا. Okay, it says that, but it means this. Classic. This is who is this? Ibn Kathir?
Ibn Kathir, man.
Yeah. In ذلك بمعنى هذا. He's saying that means this. That's what Ibn Kathir is saying. Dude, this is hilarious, man.
As-Sayyuti. Let's look at Sayyuti. It's writing, but Sayyuti is writing after Ibn Kathir. He should say Zalika bamaina haza, probably. Zalik, haza. So he is actually taking the Ibn Kathir's narrative, because Ibn Kathir actually says Zalika means haza. So because Sayyuti is writing after Ibn Kathir. So before Ibn Kathir.
You guys, these are big guns. These are very important.
Let's look at Baghvi. That is before Ibn Kathir. Let's see what he says.
I have that.
Hey, check this out first. Zalik al-kitab, hazal kitab. Look, there you go.
So there you go.
So he is saying the same thing, that Zalik al-kitab means hazal kitab.
But bro, he's also given this little explanation that when it's close to you, he's saying when it's close to you, say it's this. When it's far away, you say it's that book.
What happened to Alamiya when he was writing Surah Cow? Ayah number 2. What happened there, man? Like, seriously, what happened to Allah over here?
Wow.
Did he lose the language? So many of them. You can actually have a full context of it. This is the first time we had the epiphany to check this. So me and Steve Hussain, we were doing a live show, and I was like, this is this, let's look into this, and you can see my excitement and laughter at that particular time. This is what, like 4 years ago or something like that.
Bring him on,
Uh,
and then with
yeah,
Usama,
4
we
years
should
ago.
discuss this. Wow, this is crazy.
4 years ago.
Wow.
And you can't just make this thing up. You just simply cannot make this thing up. That means this? Like, really? That means this? Unbelievable.
And any Muslim, if you ask them, they would tell you the Quran is the very clear book in very clear Arabic that needs no interpretation, no explanation. And if you read it, it makes no sense. And then you go to the tafsirs and they tell you absolute nonsense. Incredible.
This is one of the reasons why I believe that the Quran that is mentioned in the text is not the Quran. Because this Quran that is mentioned is supposed to be written in clear Arabic, and obviously the Quran is not. So it refers to another book, another lectionary. This is the only way the Quranic text can make sense.
Wow.
Then where is the pure Arabic Quran?
That's a good
The
question.
pure Arabic Quran, so it's another book which is written in clear Arabic, which is a lectionary, which has excerpts from the Kitab, from the Holy Scriptures, from the Torah and the Injil. And it is described within the Quran as being another book. Not the Quran itself, but another
like
book.
a decay or something of that region?
Excuse me, Lloyd?
So potentially like a Didache or something of that region.
A Didache, excuse me, I didn't get you.
The Didache, you know, the Didache,
Didache. Oh, yeah, okay.
Something like
Not
that.
the Didache. No. It's described as being a lectionary.
The lectionary.
Quran means lectionary.
Kriana. Okay.
Yeah, it's what I explained in my book. But if you look at all the description of the Quran within the Quran, so it's written in Arabic, it's written in clear Arabic. There are other Quran in other languages, but this one is the real Quran. If you look at all of them, you realize it doesn't talk about the Quran, the Islamic Quran, but it talks about another book. It refers to another book.
Right.
Well,
this is a
what
mess.
that means then, what it means is that this book that we now have actually abrogated the Quran. There you go, or archivated, one of the two.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I should wind down in a few minutes. It's getting late here. But wow,
How do I
you
unshare?
What was that, Adam?
How do I end share? Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so JC, you've just caused a lot of problems now. You've opened up a bottle of worms here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you are welcome.
Yeah, this is just a can of worms you've opened now, and now it's caused more problems for us.
Yeah.
Well, if there is one thing that we have learned today is that we are actually not reading the Quran because the Quran was already destroyed. So we are reading the text that abrogated the Quran, and we're still trying to make sense of it. And it takes a village to actually get there. But one verse at a time, we will get there within our lifetimes.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I do believe we can reverse engineer it. If a human designed it, a human can reverse engineer it.
That's not a code, man.
Say, Adam?
I said that's not a code. Like, how can you reverse engineer?
This is what I try to do in my book. I haven't reverse engineered the whole of the Quran, but I have explained something like 100 verses, key verses.
Okay, yeah. I obviously definitely missed the first part of this live stream because I was doing another live stream on my channel.
Obviously Usama was here with us as well, because Usama, I'll tell you, Usama at first was very skeptical, but then he told me, hey, I'd actually want to do another episode with you guys, because now he's hooked into this, and now he's kind of, buying the idea that we're presenting it, the way we're looking at this, trying to reverse engineer how the fiction was created,
This is so crazy. I need to rewatch this. I mean, I need to watch it, not rewatch it, because I wasn't here.
No,
It's intriguing when you actually use the word that you'll recreate it, and it's just like I'm intrigued. I would like to know more on how you could. Is this the first episode, or you guys have done this episodes before? Like, is this?
It's our third with JC. I did me and him, and then we had Odon come on, and then Odon was just me and Odon, right? And then Usama did the third with us. Yeah, we needed an Arabic speaker for the third, so this is our fourth. But it's not like you're going to miss anything. You don't have to do the first ones. This one is, I mean, the first one or the second one might be useful. The first one maybe. The first one is probably just. But basically, how do we explain this? JC writes fiction novels. Okay, so he's taking the idea of how you use real events, real news, and turn that into a fiction novel. Take real things and make them into fiction, but then also how do you, as a writer, do that and make it seem compelling by weaving fiction with fact and using existing things, but disguising it, changing it to fit into your fictional. And then he's thinking, I think, was how do I do this with the Quranic story? How do I reverse engineer how they created the story from real and fictional things? Would that be a good, am I correct, JC?
Yes, like pretty much spot on. It's if we have all of the hadiths, where did they come from? So many people wrote them. Why were they writing the tafsirs? When? And when you are trying to put all of those pieces together, you realize that somebody tells a story. This is something that Odon explains very well at the NAPC conference, that there is a story that has to be created. And then it has plot holes, so another story is created to fix the plot holes, so now you have more, and it keeps on going. So reverse engineering that is realizing, okay, so let's go through the source, let's go as well to the end game, and then let's try to find the middle ground, like how did the things go from step 1 to step 2 and so on. But now it's just about looking at the Quran and realizing that they have lied about every single verse.
But there are patterns and processes they've used. Does that make sense, Adam?
Yeah, that's a very intriguing way to do that. Like, quite frankly, like, yes, I can see if you go to Tibri, there are some sources. Then you go to Qurtubi, it's written later, so you have additional sources. Then you go to Ibn Kathir, he omits some of the early sources and adds some of his own opinion. And then you come to the latest scholars suddenly, and they have their own pick and choose of thing. And kind of, this is like.
And then there's also
it's a mind-boggling thing.
Between the writers, there are arguments between the early writers, the middle writers, and the later writers. You had like one group with one set of ideas, another group with another set, and now you've got a mess. And the third group comes along and has to try and fix it all up and make it work together somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says something is wrong, is bad, and then you have a new culture of da'if and fabrication and all that. Whereas if you go and read Tibri, he mostly accepts all of them almost, and that is why nowadays people don't go to Tibri, because he's the earliest source. Like, if you look at the Christianity, the Christians actually go to the source close to the Christ. They will go to as close as you can go to the Christ. Like, they'll go to the church of the 1st century, the 2nd century, and the 3rd century. They'll go as close as possible, and then you have like sola scriptura. They'll say, okay, we will stick to the first 12 apostles and whatever they say, and nothing more beyond that, and with it's written in there only. So you'll go to close, and then you'll be like, we'll go to very, very close part. But whereas if you look at the Islamic ideologies, they will leave the closer sources. They'll say, leave that, accept the new narrative. Ibn Kathir is like, what, 13th century, and they will accept Ibn Kathir more than Tibri, more than Qurtubi.
It's crazy,
and it's just, and then the new age ones will be like, oh no, we don't care. We'll go for the 19th century or 20th century source or 21st century source. That is just like unbelievable. They don't go closer to the source; they go away from the source.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
this is what Patricia Krohn explained in her article. What do we actually know about Muhammad? She found it very odd that the later the writer, the more details he has.
How do they get the more details? That's what I'm saying. Like, if you read the Ibn Kasir's Tafsir al-Badaya wal-Nihaya, the first paraphrase, he says that I am not going to use any source outside Islam, and I'm going to use the snippets of the Bible just to emphasize the point. Whereas when you read his book al-Badaya wal-Nihaya, you'll see 50% of his sources actually from the Bible.
Exactly, Ibn Kathir. But if someone, guys, can someone fund us to take Yasser Qadhi's class to get all the answers? Because if you take Yasser Qadhi's class, you'll understand everything.
This is Mulad al-Islam. This is a sarcastic remark. You know that, right?
I know, but it's
Yes,
true.
yeah,
We
right.
need to take Yasser Qadhi's class. So
And
yeah,
then
so that
then we will be as dumb as him.
I must say actually now, because just we mentioned Yasser Qadhi, as much as I appreciate you, Adam, and so many Christian apologists, the best Christian apologist on planet Earth is Yasser Qadhi. He has actually taken more Muslims out of Islam and into Christianity than anybody else. Truth.
this episode goes out.
that
to
is
Yasser
that is
Qadhi.
so good. That is so good. And people are abusing Yasser Qadhi left, right, and center. I have a couple of videos on it where like 4 or 5 of the Muslims are and but like he's the one who actually says a lot of things in true face rather than lying in deception. He's the one who actually started the holes in the narrative game. He's the one who actually exposed the Dulkarnan going to the 2 mountains and building a wall, and he said like, stop saying this is the wall of this and wall of that, we can't find this wall, so on and so forth. He exposed so many things. It's unbelievable. He's the one who actually exposed the age of Aisha far more than anybody else. Like, no
Yeah.
matter you pick any topic, he's actually true to his words, like most of the time, not all. Remember,
Now,
not
don't
all.
get Mr. We're proud of that.
Yeah, and that proud of that was and then again, he's the one who actually stated for the very first time Islam spread by sword. You know that, right? He said
Yeah.
every single area at that time were spreading by sword, and if we spread by sword, so what? Like, there was no dire need for using sword against Tabuk and going to the fringes of Iran, Persia, and etc., except to spread Islam, and they use the sword because that's Quran chapter number 9, verse number 29. There are a lot of videos to unpack in him. Yes, he adds some sugar coating in it. That's like, I think it's needed.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he has to do something to protect, but yeah, he's the one who exposed it the most.
Yeah, but I think things are moving very fast. So guys, I should call it an end. It's a bit late for me because I need to do some things still. And
Hey, just to let you know, I've been running another show on lying in Islam. I showed your presentation, one page of your presentation 2 weeks ago, and then everybody was so annoyed and agitated about the lying. And now I'm doing another show with the Finding My God guy, and we are doing all of it not through the presentation but the actual books now, so that everyone will know. So that your presentation on lying in Islam is the best thing that has been created to bring Muslims out of Islam, and I'm telling you
thanks,
that. And
man.
I've said
Appreciate
that
it.
I used this presentation in my Urdu channel as well, like a year and a half ago. And this is a presentation that is just insane.
Appreciate it, man. Well, just send people our way, and yeah, thanks, man. Good to hear it. I'm glad it's helpful. I'm glad it's doing good. And yeah, well, if you want to do something another time, of course. So look, the next time we do a show like this, maybe Adam, I'll reach out to you. I'll let you know, and see if we can coordinate. You know, it's hard to coordinate many people, but I mean, this is an ongoing discussion we're having, and I think it's JC. Today, you lit a lot of fires, man. You really set off a bunch of firecrackers tonight. You know.
I'm glad to hear. I did actually leave most of the slides out. I thought we were going to have more time, but then I slowed down. But anyway, I have that for the next time. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, so let's maybe do next Friday. What do you guys think? Do you want to do like next Friday? Would that work?
Next week, you mean?
Yeah, next week. What do you guys think? Next week,
Not
Friday?
tomorrow. Yeah.
Not tomorrow. No, I'm not available. But in a week, so on the 14th. What do you guys think? 14th?
Okay with me.
Yeah, Adam, if you're free, let us know. I'm going to invite.
Yeah,
Usama.
Fridays are little difficult for me. I can do Thursdays and Tuesdays. Fridays are a little difficult, but I will
can do
try
Thursday.
to make up.
We can do Thursday. What do you guys think? Thursday?
So the next week is also okay with me.
Next Saturday actually sounds good.
If it's Thursday, then we can. Then I can coordinate. I'll speak to Usama as well in advance.
Okay.
We'll try and get this because this has been fascinating. So yeah, we should call it a night here. Unfortunately for me, I'd love to go on, but I mean, this has been great. Thanks for joining, Adam.
Oh no, thank you so very much. You just gave me another subject to learn, and I will definitely rewatch this video. And next time I'll bring up questions for JC and put him on a hot seat. Yes, baby.
Do it. You know what? This is great because Usama was skeptical at first, and then Usama, after the show, he called me and said, "I want to be on the next one." You know, so because he's thinking he says this is a fascinating way of seeing the Quran. It's a whole new way for him as well.
Yeah, for me as well, because like I've never thought of this subject in this manner, the way JC is explaining, and you guys have explained it to me in the last 10-15 minutes. It's just fascinating to look at it from this perspective, and then actually recreating the original story and going back to the origin, because there are like so many stories for one single verse. Like each and every single verse in the Quran actually gives you like tons of stories. Like this is such a silly thing. Like even the hadiths have explanation on them. For example, the hadith of the Muhammad's donkey, you know, there are explanation of the donkeys of Muhammad. Like,
I mean, there's the tafsir of hadiths. Don't forget.
Yeah,
And
that's
look,
what I'm saying. That the tafsir of hadith.
But most of it seems to be about Jesus. That's the thing. Most of it seems to be about Jesus. It's not about Muhammad most of the time.
But I'm talking about donkey of Muhammad. You know, there was a donkey of Muhammad. His name was Yafur. Okay. Now his name was Yafur. But the problem is that if you go to the tafsir of the hadith, they are fighting about what color was the hair of the donkey Yafur. Was it brown, black, or red, or white? Some even says white. So they are talking pages and pages on the hair color of the donkey Yafur. So they omitted the real subject, and so it's like, you know, when you go into the court, the law, what does the lawyer do? The lawyer will bury you under paperwork, right?
Right.
That's exactly what they are doing. They're burdening you with so much paperwork that the real subject matter vanishes in the middle, and you are talking about something else, the color of the hairs of the donkey.
Yeah, but Andrew makes a good point. Jesus rode a donkey. Muhammad had a donkey. See? Look, it was Jesus. Yeah.
But which Christian apologist actually wrote pages after pages of the color of the hair of the donkey which Jesus rode?
Nobody. We don't even know what color the freaking donkey was, and nobody cares.
Yeah, why do you care of the color of the hair of the donkey? Why do you care?
The tafsir writers and the hadith writers, they very clearly were paid by the hour.
Yeah.
So guys,
let's call it a night
here. I need to I need to call it a night, but this has been great. So we can do this in a week. But guys, thank you. So Adam, thanks again. Odon, JC, it's been a banger of an evening. Really good discussion.
Thank you, Lloyd, Odon, Adam. Looking forward to the next one. Everyone watching, God bless you all.
Yeah.
God bless you all. Allahu Asghar wa Yeshua
Bye-bye.
Akbarul Azim.
God bless you all. Good night.
There is only one Quran, right? Every Quran in the world is the same. That's what you've been told. You have been told a lie! 26 different Quran!
There are 0 Dawa guys apparently left on the planet who are willing to defend Muhammad in a debate.
Everybody can go and read it. This is a book full of mistakes in Arabic, in the grammar, in the spelling, in the pronunciation.
Whoever wrote the Quran made an error because they didn't quite understand what was written in the 7th century in the Torah and the Injil.
Stay away from these translations. They are propaganda.
We know that stories about Muhammad were made up on an industrial scale.
What in the world is this Injil?